if you can't stop thinking about your ex, even though they hurt you, even though months have passed, even though they've moved on and they don't seem to care, then you're caught in the anxious avoidant trap. This is the cycle where your attachment system locks onto their avoidance like a magnet to the point where you find yourself obsessing over them, even though you know it's time to let go. Now, the truth is, that obsession is not going to stop on its own. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that loop is, why it feels so intense with this particular person, and the first steps you need to escape that trap. So stay with me because I'm going to walk you through 4 things. 1, how to recognize what this trap actually looks like in your day-to-day thoughts and behavior. 2, what's actually happening on a deeper level that keeps this cycle going. 3, why this relationship feels impossible to let go of. And 4, the first steps that can really help you start to break free from that trap and feel more secure. Now, before we get started, there's something absolutely critical that I have to tell you. When you're caught in the anxious avoidant trap and your partner has pulled away from you, you're not just missing them. You're not just missing this powerful connection you feel. You're missing that feeling of calm you get when they return. The weight of it all is beginning to lift, and a sense of peace is starting to wash over you. But here's the part that nobody wants to face. It's not really about them. It's not really about the relief you're starting to feel when they come back. It's really about escaping the panic of being left. Because underneath all of this is a fear of abandonment. And once you're starting to see that clearly, then your mind's obsession starts to make sense, and naturally it stops feeling like proof that this is the only person for you. Now, right away, let's dive in with what this trap actually looks like in your everyday life. Back when everything still felt perfect, it was pure bliss. Those long talks, you feel truly seen, like nothing could come between you. But then suddenly, that dynamic changed. They pulled away and went cold, and because of that, you were left heartbroken, stuck trying to figure it all out, just totally lost. Every day, you wake up obsessing, replaying conversations in your head, checking their socials, even though you swore you wouldn't. Day in and day out, you're trying to find the moment where it all went wrong. Maybe you imagine bumping into them somewhere, having one last talk where you finally get some closure, and at least everything will make sense. Now, from time to time, you might find something that distracts you, but it isn't long before your mind comes back to them. And in an instant, you notice that sinking feeling in your gut as your whole body drops down, and that feeling of panic rushes over you again. At this moment, you think to yourself, what if I can never feel a connection like this again? What if I lose them forever? What if this is the only person who can really understand me? Now, even though you know no contact is the right move, those thoughts and feelings are still there. And because of that, there's this constant and compelling urge to reach out. Now, what happens next is no surprise. Because that urge is so strong, you tell yourself it's just a harmless check-in to see if they're okay, just to let them know I haven't forgotten about them, to let them know I still care. After all, they deserve kindness, and it's much more mature to reach out, to apologize, to clear the air, instead of ghosting them. Now, I want you to know that urge to reach out is not a weakness. It's just your attachment system in overdrive, triggering that anxiety that part of you that feels replaceable, unseen, or unloved. It's reaching for anything that might bring them back and allow you to feel safe again. Now, that's just your half of the anxious avoidant trap. And for you to fully begin to understand why this is happening to you and why those feelings are so deep and compelling with this person, it's important to know how this trap actually forms, because it's built through a very specific interaction between your two different attachment styles. So, as you're starting to grasp how this works, the next step is to look at what happens when someone with more anxious tendencies gets involved with someone who leans more avoidant. When you're anxiously attached, connection and availability allow you to feel safe. When there's disconnection or withdrawal, your attachment system goes on high alert. You feel anxious. You think, what did I do? Are they leaving? Am I about to be abandoned? And so naturally, your instinct is to reach out, to get closer, check in, ask what's wrong, reassure them that you love them, because this is what makes you feel safe. Now, if you're someone who leans avoidant, the pattern is almost the opposite. This connection feels really good at first, even exciting and intimate. But once it reaches a certain level of intensity, your attachment system starts to register it as pressure, loss of control, danger, being smothered. And obviously, your instinct is to pull back, to create some space, to withdraw until you find yourself starting to calm down, feel settled, and more like yourself once again. Now, put those two patterns together and you get a very specific set of results. Here's the trap it creates. You get a moment of intense connection. Those long nights where you talk for hours, you share this deep and special bond together, and the feeling that you've finally found the one person who is right for you. Then, often with no clear warning, the avoidant starts to pull back. Messages get shorter, plans get vague, they say they're busy or overwhelmed or not sure what they want. And because of that, your attachment system panics. You feel that drop in your stomach, and your brain rushes in with the questions. What did I do? Did I scare them off? Are they losing interest? Which causes you to panic even more. So you lean in, you text more, you try to reassure them, you check in, you bring up the relationship, you try to fix whatever is wrong. And that pushes things forward, because for them, they were already feeling overwhelmed and trapped. That just tipped the balance. Their attachment system starts to read it as, this is too much. I don't know how to respond the right way. I'm going to let them down. I need some space so I can breathe, which means they withdraw, back away, and disengage until at some point they find all of the pressure is starting to fade away and they can relax, feel calm, and more centered. Now, at that point, they often come back around. As a result of that, most often, when they do come back, you feel that wave of relief coming over you as the anxiety starts to fade. Because now you know they still care, I'm okay, I didn't lose them. You no longer feel abandoned, which is one of the core fears of anxious attachment. And what that really means is the anxious avoidant trap happens when one person is feeling triggered by feeling abandoned, while the other is triggered by feeling smothered, and each instinctively reacts in a way that sets off the other. That's the core of the anxious avoidant trap. And this is exactly why you can't stop thinking about this person, even when other breakups didn't hit you that way. So let's follow this down to its foundation and uncover what's really happening underneath it all. This is why it feels so impossible to let go of them. It's not just that you like this person more or that this connection is more real than anything else you've ever felt. It's that your mind, from a very young age, has learned a very specific pattern, and you're experiencing it again now in your relationship. Here's how that pattern goes. When someone pulls away from you, it sets off an alarm and you feel anxious. But when they return, you start to feel relief. Now, for secure people, being with someone and sharing this connection feels like adding something nice to your life. And if that person pulls away from them, well, it might hurt a little, but it doesn't trigger any alarms. And if they reconnect later, that feels nice too, but there's no real sense of relief because it never sets off any alarms for them. So here's what matters most. If you're anxiously attached, then every time they pull away, your brain goes into problem solving mode, replaying conversations, overanalyzing text, scanning for signs that you were losing them, looking for ways to calm those anxious feelings and restore that feeling of safety. And every time they reached out, checked in, texted, or showed up at your door, that anxiety dropped. You notice the fear fading away, and you start to feel hope, connection, and a sense that everything is going to be okay. Now, each time this happens, it reinforces that pattern and it strengthens the behavior that's been driving your side of the relationship. If I can just figure this out, if I can just say the right thing, if I can just do the right thing, then I can make them come back. Those anxious feelings will stop, and instantly you'll start to feel safe, secure, and even whole again. Now think back to the last time you struggled after a breakup, because this is the hidden reason why it was so intense. After your relationship is over, your mind doesn't just move on. It keeps spiraling because it's still stuck in that same loop, replaying the relationship, hunting for the right explanation, the right moment of closure, something that answers the real question underneath. Why did they leave me if they said they loved me? And what happens at this point is your brain starts to bargain with itself. If I can just get them back, or if I can just understand what really happened, then I won't feel so abandoned. Because if you were truly abandoned, the story that creeps in underneath is maybe I'm unlovable. And that is the real source of that anxiety. Now, that's why you can't stop thinking about this person. Your mind is searching for proof, for certainty that you're still lovable and weren't abandoned because something is wrong with you. Now, here's where it gets even more painful. Even if you're in no contact, even if the relationship has run its course, this pattern doesn't just disappear. It turns inward, and you find that the energy that used to go into chasing them gets redirected into watching your own thoughts. Now, the questions you keep asking yourself are: do they regret losing me? Will they ever come back? What happens if I stick to no contact? Did it mean anything to them? Now, these aren't random questions. These are very predictable questions. And here's why. Even if your ex is completely out of the picture, the anxiety is still there. Your mind is still trying to start making sense of this feeling you have, but can't quite explain. And what that means in simple language is this: you can let go of the relationship, but not the doubt. So maybe that feels to you like, I still want this person, or maybe it shows up to you as, I just wish I had some closure from my ex. But the real meaning behind it is always this: I need to know what this says about me. I need to know that I was lovable, not just abandoned, even though there's a part of you that knows the truth that you are lovable. Now, all of that keeps the emotional thread alive. It keeps the anxiety triggered, which means your mind refuses to let the story end, because ending the story feels like losing your last shot at relief. And that's how the anxious avoidant trap can keep you emotionally attached to someone long after the relationship stopped being good for both of you. And that's why doing no contact the right way is so critical, because it allows you to let go of the idea that this person is the only source of relief from your anxiety. Now, if you're right in the middle of this, if you're in no contact and every day still feels like you're white knuckling your way through just trying not to reach out, then I want you to know that's exactly why I created the no contact safety net. It's built specifically for this pattern, for those moments when your mind is screaming at you to break no contact and you need something concrete to hold on to. I'll link it in the description and in the pinned comment so you can get it. Right now, though, let's keep going with some steps you can take at this very moment to break free of the anxious avoidant trap. The first step is naming what's actually happening. When you catch yourself spiraling, checking your phone, replaying the same memories, wondering for the 100th time whether they ever really loved you, pause and say to yourself, this is the anxious avoidant trap, not a sign that they're my soulmate. If you simply say that often enough, then you'll start to notice how naming it shifts the story from, I'm obsessed with this person because of the love and powerful connection we share, to, I'm activated because I'm stuck in a pattern that keeps pulling me back. Now, the second step you can take is learning to ride the wave of activation without automatically acting on it. That might look like giving yourself 90 seconds before you check their social media or reach for your phone. And during those 90 seconds, doing something that grounds your body. A meditation, slow breathing, feeling your feet on the floor, placing a hand on your chest and noticing the sensations in your body, then reminding yourself, I'm looking for reassurance right now. And I can give myself a tiny bit of that reassurance without falling back into that trap. Because there's a part of you that knows it will all be okay. Now, you're not trying to pretend that you don't care. You're building the ability to settle down and relax without needing to contact them to do it. If you need extra support, then follow this link to a video and a meditation I did that will help you with that urge to reach out. Now, the third step you can take right now is to connect and lean on resources that help you feel stable. Now, that might mean letting a trusted friend know how you're feeling and asking for them to check in on you, or creating a small daily routine that gives you structure, maybe walks, journaling, therapy, creative outlets. Just focus on returning to things that remind you of who you are outside of that relationship. Now, these steps don't magically erase your attachment style overnight, but they do start to weaken the rule that your mind has been following. The rule that says the only way I can feel okay is if I get them to come back. Now, that brings us to the final step because understanding this trap is only the beginning. From here, the work shifts from decoding what's happening to healing your own attachment system so that you're never pulled back into that trap again with them or with anyone else. So, if you want more structured support while going through no contact, the no contact safety net is linked in the description and the pinned comment below. But if you still need to understand what actually happens for them after a breakup, if you're still wondering whether they'll ever feel regret or realize what they lost, then this next video breaks down when avoidant exes really start to feel that change happening inside. But if you're starting to realize that this is more about your own attachment system, then this second video is clearly the next right step for you. Just pick the one that feels best for where you are now, and I'll see you there.